Hello friends, in this video we'll see the while loop. So while loop syntax is this: we have a while keyword followed with bracket. Inside the bracket we have the loop condition, and we have loop body, in which currently we have 3 statements. So you can have n number of statements inside the while loop, and you can have only one statement. I suggest you to use always I suggest you to always use the curly braces even if you have only one statement. So how it executes: first, the loop condition is checked. If the condition is true, all the statements executes. Once all the statement is executed, it again comes back to loop condition. It again checks the loop condition, and if it's true, it again executes all the statements. So we have to make sure that the loop breaks somewhere. So loop ends somewhere. So we have to use some statement inside the while block so that the loop condition will be failed one or the other time when we require. So this is how it works. So first, directly the step 2 it goes. Here we don't have initialization step 1 as we had in the for loop. We have to initialize it before the while. So it checks the loop condition. If the condition is true, it executes all the statements inside the while block, and then it comes back to the condition again. It checks the condition again, and it goes to the while block and executes all the statements. Once the condition is false, it comes out of the while block. So we'll see example 1. So in example 1, we have assumed that x value is equal to 0. So now while 0 is less than 10 is true. So 0 is less than 10 and this condition is true. So all the statements inside the while block gets executed. So next, again the condition is checked. Once all the statements are executed, again the condition is checked. X has still 0. So 0 less than 10. Again the statements gets executed because it's true, and then again it is checked. X is 0, which is less than 10, and again all the statements get executed because the statement is true. Again it's checked. Now also x is 0, so 0 less than 10 is always true, so it's again gets executed. So this becomes an infinite loop. So you have to consider this situation, because whenever you are programming, you might end up with an infinite loop without altering any the loop condition or loop variable. So what we have to do is we need to add a loop altering statement inside the while block. So you can see here, this variable is acting as a loop variable. So we have initialized before the while block. So this is not a part of your while. This x is equal to 0 is not a part of your while, but still we have made that x as a loop variable. So we have to initialize it before we check the condition. And we have to use one more statement inside the while block to stop the loop. So this incrementing, we are using an incrementing. This you can use increment, decrement, any operation. We'll see later. So now x is equal to 0. So it's true, and all the block statements in the block executes, and x increments to 1. Next, again the condition is checked. Now x is 1, 1 less than 10 is true. All the statements get executed, and x increments to 2. And next again the condition is checked. Now x is equal to 2, 2 less than 10 is true, and all the statements execute. X increments to 3. So now again the condition is checked, and all the statements executes. X increments to 4, and again the condition is checked. X is equal to 4, 4 less than 10 is true, and all the statements gets executed. And again x increments to 5. X has 5, 5 less than 10 is true. Again all the statements execute because the statement is true, and x increments to 6. Now x has 6, 6 less than 10 is true, and all the statements executes. X increments to 7. Then again the condition is checked. 7 less than 10 is true. All the statements execute, and x increments to 8. Again 8 less than 10 is true. X less than 10 is true. So all the statements execute. X increments to 9. Next the condition is checked. X has 9. 9 less than 10 is true. All the statements execute. This time x becomes 10. Next time 10 less than 10 is false. X has 10, which is not less than 10, and this condition is false, and all the statements are skipped. So now the loop ends and comes out of the loop, and the output is, you can see it's whenever the x value is less than 10, the statement got printed, you can see the print step percentage d, the percentage d, in the place of percentage d we get the value of x. So whenever it's 9, up till it was 9 it was printing. When it became 10 it stopped execution of the loop. So this way we have to use a loop altering statement inside the while block to stop the loop. So we'll see some programs. So we'll see one program here. It's a simple program. Okay, it's 23. We'll see. We'll do it 10. Okay, we done at 10. It was 23. I just changed it to 23 now. So we have declared a variable x of type int and we initialized it to 0. So this is very important. You have to initialize the value whichever we use in a loop. We are considering this as a loop variable right now. So 0 less than 10 is true and it prints hello world. And we can also add here percentage d colon, and we'll print the value of x here. I'll save this. Now x increments to 1 and then again 1 less, it goes back to the condition and checks 1 less than is true. It keeps on continuing until the x value becomes 10. When the x value becomes 10 it stops execution. The control comes out of the loop. Okay, we'll see. I'll do alt F9, control F9. So you can see whenever the x value is 0, it printed hello world, and when the value is 9 also it printed hello world. When the value increased to 10, it stopped execution of the loop. So if you want to see the infinite loop condition, the program will hang up. I'll show you the program will hang. I'll remove this and save this program so you can see how the infinite loop. I'll do alt F9 and I'll do control F9. You can see the loop is infinite loop. So it's not stopping, it's always 0. So what we have to do, I need to close this program. The program hangs. See, the program hangs here. So this is the situation when an infinite loop. So the program hangs. It's not responding. We will end the program and we'll open the Turbo C again. Okay, so now we close everything. We'll open the Turbo C again. So this is what happens when there's an infinite loop, fatal error. So you should always make sure that it will not end up in an infinite loop. So now it's not starting up. So these are the situations it happens sometimes with the software. So you should be very careful. Okay, what I'll do is I'll pause the video and we'll continue it next later.